Hello, everybody, and welcome to Made in New England interview series, where we talk with New England-based companies and the people who lead them. I am your host, Steve DeVries, and I'm joined today by Joe Howard of Howard Precision, located in Guilford, New Hampshire. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right, you're welcome. So thanks for joining us. Joe, maybe you could start out with just a little bit of background about you and your business.
My name is Joe Howard. I'm the owner and operator of Howard Precision Incorporated. The business is a CNC machine shop where we offer multi-axis precision CNC machining for various industries, pharmaceutical, defense, aerospace, medical. And the business was founded in 1986 by my parents, Joseph and Carol Howard. And I learned everything I really knew about business and machining from them growing up in the business. And in 2005, I wanted to grow the business a little bit. My parents employed about 5 or 6 people at the most, and I had these grand visions of having a larger company. So in 2005, I convinced my parents to help me open my own facility up in Guilford, New Hampshire. I liked the school system in Guilford, and my parents had a boat up here, so it made a lot of sense to head to Guilford and check it out. Maybe find a girl and get married and settle down in Guilford. So that's exactly what we did. So in 2005, we opened a small machine shop, two lathes and a mill, brand new, in a industrial condo, about 1,800 square feet. And we grew the business. Basically, I was doing work for the pharmaceutical and food beverage industry. We made hose fittings for hose connections for their machines and equipment. And that business grew quite a bit for a while. 2012, I was able to put up a 9,000 square foot facility in a nice industrial park here in Guilford. And in 2014, I ended up buying my parents out, and we moved all the businesses together. Their shop and mine consolidated into this new facility. And then in 2015, 16, shortly after all this, we started to see a decline in the hose fitting production of pharmaceutical and food beverage parts. We saw that stuff start moving to China and India. So we put initiatives together. We wanted to make ourselves better. And one thing that would make us better would be going to ISO and putting together a really great quality program, controlling processes, metrics. We love looking at KPIs and our metrics. That's kind of like a thing that I look at every single day. I mean, I track everything from quoting performance to sales performance to on-time delivery, quality, customer returns. We look at everything and we use those metrics. A lot of companies will track them, but we actually really understand and appreciate the importance of using those metrics to steer your business. So quality in implementing this was really natural for us. We had great people, and it just was the natural progression of things. So when we implemented the quality system, we were ISO certified, and we thought that would open up even more doors, which it did to a degree. But we had lost so much business, it was really tough to recover from that. Fortunately, I was able to land some new contracts, and when COVID happened, we were really busting to the seams. It allowed us to generate some great profit and reinvest in the company, which we did. And we upgraded our quality lab. We added equipment. Now we have full 5-axis services, new 4-axis machine. We have a horizontal pallet changing mill. We've got some amazing equipment. And then when COVID ended, we saw all those contracts disappear. And they're not gone forever. They're gone probably till 2025. But unfortunately, we've seen a huge decline in our business after all this investment. So over the past year and a half, I've spent pretty much 99% of my time, aside from running the day-to-day, but trying to get new customers. And we're focusing on aerospace, defense, and customers that are going to be more dependent on U.S. manufacturers. Other things that we're working on right now are being ITAR compliant, and we're going to eventually go towards our AS 9100 certification. And those are really the things in the pipeline for 2024.
So your story, I think, is a familiar one, particularly for manufacturers here in New England, right? So you've built a client base, and then to see it offshored, right, has become a very common tale amongst manufacturers here. So for those clients that stuck with you, and even for the new ones, what can you point to in your business that attracts those customers to you and has helped you retain them?
Well, the people that we cater to now mainly need stuff quicker. You know, that's what you don't see when you outsource things to India and China. Your lead times are much longer. So we can capture the work that is required to be delivered within the next 2 to 4 weeks. Beyond that, it becomes pretty competitive. If you're talking your generic fitting work, you know, the stuff that we used to supply, because we still do supply a lot of fittings. I say a lot, small orders of fittings, much smaller orders than we used to provide,
Mhm.
but small orders of fittings to our older customers that need them quickly. Um, where we see growth are the defense areas, you know, where people need more complex parts made. Um, really, I mean, that stuff has to stay in the US. Um, defense work is required to be done here. You know, companies like BAE, Raytheon, uh, Boeing, all that type of work is going to end up staying here in the States indefinitely.
Okay. Okay.
That stuff is really where we're pushing.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier, you ran through a bunch of metrics that you use to manage your business. So for people like me, ops people that really get into metrics, can you name for me the top maybe two or three that you really focus on a regular basis to manage that business?
Uh, there are several. So from a commercial end of the business, it all depends on where you're looking. So I wear a lot of different hats. Owning the business, and it's a small company, so I look at production efficiency. Okay, that's one. That's probably the most difficult one to manage. I shouldn't say that's probably. That is the most difficult one to manage, and that has been consistent in my entire business professional life. The commercial end of things, I look at my quoting performance. I look at, you know, amount of quotes sent, amount of quotes won, and I look at my book to bill ratio. I want to make sure that I'm always booking more work than I'm billing.
Sure.
That's probably the best one. Obviously, profitability is going to be paramount to all of them, because all the metrics can look great, but if you're not profitable, what's the point?
Yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely. So, um, thinking about the future, you talked a little bit about the growth in aerospace and defense. So that's where you see the opportunities. What concerns you about the future of your industry or your business in general?
I guess concerns for me are more about scaling. And I bring up scaling because we went through some tough times, especially in 2023. It was probably one of the toughest years I think I've ever had. It was just a whirlwind. We came off of 2022 with a great profit. And I took all of that profit and reinvested it in our shop. I tooled up. I wanted to be faster and better. And it's almost as soon as I did that, we lost all of those big contracts that made me all that money.
Mm,
So I had to start immediately hitting the ground looking for new customers. Now, an acquisition of a new customer takes 15 to 18 months. It's a long time to actually really get an opportunity from them. And then to get good opportunities, you know, you're talking a long time, 24 months. So that was a challenge. And then in October, we just didn't have the work to support the staff I had. So I had to do something I've never done in my life, and that was lay off almost half my workforce. So scaling is such an important lesson to learn, and it's something that, you know, I spent 18 years in this business before I learned how to scale it properly. And even now I still second guess myself sometimes. We did so well in 22, and I teed up so many new customers, but the work just wasn't showing up quick enough. And my finance manager will tell you that sometimes or most of the time, I think with my heart more than my head. All I could to keep all of my staff for as long as I could. In hindsight, I should have laid those people off in March, and it really hurt my cash position. So right now it's very difficult because I'm low on cash. I've cut my staff in half. The work's starting to come in again, And I guess my biggest concern, to answer your question, is how do I scale this comfortably and do it just the right way for 2024 and 2025 and going further? Scaling, I think, is my biggest concern. I want to grow. I want to satisfy my customers' requirements. I want to make more money. But I also don't want to get in a situation where I've got to lay off people again, because that was probably one of the hardest things I've had to deal with in business.
Joe, I appreciate you being so transparent with that, and I think you're not alone. I've seen businesses have those same concerns, and so it is a challenge. And sometimes we get it right, and sometimes we don't. But I think the level of caring that you show to your employees, I think, will ultimately be helpful for you as in the future of your business. So, a couple last questions for you. The name of the show is Made in New England. It's all about New England-based businesses and the people that are here. How does being in New England and what I consider the heart of New England in the Lakes region, how does that impact your business, positively or negatively?
Well, New England, as we all know, we're watching the show probably, is a great area to live. Schools are great, the scenery is great, the activities are awesome, and we have summer activities and winter activities. And I think New Hampshire was just voted like one of the best places to live in the country. However, it's very expensive. What I see are challenges of acquiring new young talent that want to be in a trade like machining. I mean, this is a great profession. We have people that make very good money here, and it just still doesn't seem to attract enough young people. So I think being in New England, it's difficult for manufacturing. I see a lot of well, even in New Hampshire, it's difficult for manufacturing. You might see better pay and better opportunities down in Connecticut, but it seems like the closer you get to the Carolinas, the opportunities seem to grow quite a bit. So that ties into my whole scaling issue, or my concern, I should say. How quick and how much can you really grow here and sustain? I know almost every machine shop owner in the area, and as soon as we hire somebody, usually you get a phone call or a text, hey, what'd you do? Why'd you take my guy? And it's such a small pool. I think that's a detractor for manufacturing in New England. However, we live in a very expensive area, and if this is where I want to live, I've got to deal with those challenges.
Those sort of, absolutely. So, Joe, you've shared so many insights with us in just such a short amount of time. But I'm going to ask you one last question. Any advice that you have for budding business leaders or those just facing general business challenges? What's your advice to those folks?
I think the one thing that has mattered to me more than anything, and it's actually paid off in dividends, taking care of your people. I have the best employees I could ever ask for. The people I have here care about me, and I genuinely care about them. I tell everybody when I hire them, we work so we can live. We don't live so we can work. And I think it's kind of something that gets lost in larger companies where vacation time, even sick time for your family, if you have a child at school and they're sick, go get them. If you need a day off, take it. This is your life. Okay. And I think that's what attracts people to work for us, because we genuinely care about them and their livelihoods. So if I had any advice, I would say, make sure you treat your employees well, and they will certainly pay it back.
Wise words, Joe. I really appreciate you sharing all of that. I appreciate you being on the show with us today. Great meeting you, learning all about Howard Precision. For those of you out there listening, check out Howard Precision's website. It's howardprecisioninc.com. I'm Steve DeVries, your host. I look forward to meeting with you next time. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great day, Joe.
Thanks, Steve. You take care.